I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our frosted Christmas trees, and these are a really fun item. They look like frosted cookies, but they're going to be ornaments that you will have for years to come. So let's get started. So I'm going to make this frosted Christmas tree with popsicle sticks. If you want it bigger, you could also use craft sticks, but you may want to put some support beams kind of in there. So I am just going to start with 3. Now, I didn't open mine up all the way because I think that made the Christmas tree too fat. And if you wanted to cut this part off and use it for the base, then that works out really great. So I'm going to hot glue these after I figure out where this part goes here. So let's actually do that guy first. I'll put them on those guys. If you're a little bit concerned about the glue, then you can E6000 them on instead, whatever you prefer. But the wood is porous. So now this part we have as our little stem for our Christmas tree. So we'll put him right in the middle on the back. And I like to use my old recycled Christmas cards to make my base, because your Christmas cards are usually kind of have a glossy coat on them too. And I like recycling things. And wouldn't it be fun if you had a message that you wanted to see, that you could put that in the Christmas tree so that you could see it again if you wanted to. So there's all kinds of fun things that you could do with it. But most of our backs of our Christmas cards are wasted paper anyway. And that's the reason I'm going to be doing that way. So I'm just going to simply take this and I'm going to draw my shape with my pencil or my pen. So I'm just going to lay this down and I'm going to trace, and you could trace on the outside or you could trace on the inside. Either way, we kind of want to cut between that so it doesn't stick out past our tree. So I am going to do just a little bit on that inside all the way around. And we'll get going on our next thing. So once I've cut that out, I kind of make sure that it doesn't hang over anywhere, like on that top part, because it's not a straight point. And you could hot glue it on if you wanted to. I actually used my tacky glue here because I have a little bit more wiggle room as far as dry time. Whatever you are comfortable with, get that on. And then what I did, and you may want to just leave them this woodsy color, and there's nothing wrong with that, is I took mine out and I spray painted it green, especially if you wanted to kind of cover up the back of the card. You also could use your multi-surface paint and paint that as well, just in case if you were working and any of this showed up, if it was the same color as the frosting, then it wouldn't show up much. And you could decide if you wanted to leave this brown, because trees are brown, and we'll talk about maybe making that frosting as well. So get that part done. We're going to come back, we're going to talk about what type of frosting we're using and give you our secret recipe on that, which you're going to love. And then we will color it and start doing our tree. The other thing is, once you've colored your tree or decided if you were going to leave it natural, we're just going to put a hanger on our tree, and we're going to cover this up anyway, so it doesn't have to be real pretty. And I'm going to put it down just a little bit, not quite on top, and I'm just going to hot glue that on. for this project, we're going to be using caulk silicone, and this is Alex Fast Dry. You can paint it in 20 minutes, but that does not mean it is ready in 20 minutes. We'll talk about dry time a little bit later, but it is important to get this brand. I've been using this brand for several years. You do want the white. You don't want it clear. I do not have a problem with this turning yellow on me. It really holds its color, and it is nice and stable. I don't have any problems with it falling apart as well. I do purchase mine at Walmart. I can find it for about under $3, so check there. And if not, you could probably find it at any of your hardware stores or things like that. You can cut it off with your scissors depending on how fast you want it to come out. You may want it smaller, you may want it bigger. On mine, it also has a tip cutter that you can cut the tip off as well. This is just a caulking gun. You can find it in the section with the caulking as well, and we're just going to dispense it that way as we go. When I'm done with it, I just used a little plastic bag and a rubber band around it. You can just use saran wrap or something like that as well. And I have stored this for months at a time and have never had a problem with it drying out. So that is what we're going to be using. So let's get started on our project. Well, now you know what our special frosting is and how hard that is to make. We're going to color it, and I'm using just any old disposable throwaway container. I actually have one with lids, so if I want to save this, it actually saves quite a while. Now, the trees do take a little bit more of frosting, and I would rather have more than not enough, and I can use it again. We'll talk about storing it a little bit later on. And I'm just going to do another because I have a few trees that I want to do. And I think that is probably pretty good here. And to store this, I'm going to take this and put any type of plastic over it. I've got a plastic bag. I've used saran wraps. I've actually even used shopping bags. And we're just going to rubber band it on really tight. And I've kept this for months at a time and had no problems with it. So I'm going to use food coloring today. And I have not had any problems with this fading. The color I'm going to use is leaf green because I've done the Christmas green. So I want to kind of see the difference. And I'm going to be using a popsicle stick to mix it with here. Isn't that pretty? So we'll have to see. I've tried also a small spatula, and I found that actually harder to use. So whatever you think you like, I really like the leaf green. I think I actually even like that better than our Christmas green or darker green. I'm just going to do a tad more green, and then I'm going to get this mixed up, and we'll get it started. The one precaution I want to give you is this looks so good. It looks like frosting, and I can't tell you how tempted I've even been to lick my fingers. So be careful if you have little kids around. You don't want them to accidentally lick their fingers, or if they're helping you, or if you leave it down and set and walk out of the room. Just be careful of little people walking in and trying to eat it. So to keep our container or our frosting bag clean, we're going to use saran wrap, and this really helps them clean up because you just pick it up and throw it away. So we're going to pull out some saran wrap, and we're going to put our frosting right in the middle of the bag, and this is where I am going to use my spatula. And I'm just going to put it right there, and I'm going to clean as much as I can out of my container. So we've cleaned our container out. I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to wipe this off with my paper towel, and I'm going to use warm water and soap. I'm not going to use this for food anymore. This is a craft spatula. And you do not want to put this silicone down the sink. That's something we want to make real sure of, even when we're cleaning out our tips. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. So we've got that guy. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this over. So we have this up here, and we're going to kind of bring that down. We've got all of our frosting in the middle, and we're going to twist it so we get this nice little ball. Now, I have a disposable bag. I've already put the bottom part of my tip into it, and this part that's twisted, we're going to try and get that down into our tip. That's why we folded it down. Sometimes I even get my tweezers and reach up there if I need to. There's nothing wrong with that. There it comes. And while you're pulling that, you can start to lift up on your bag. So we're going to pull that all the way till we start to see our frosting come out. So we have that, and we should be getting rid of almost all of that twisted part on that end. Once we've done that, we're going to put on our lid with our tip. Today we're going to be using a 21 Wilton. It's a shell. It may also be called a star. Don't hold me to that. But it is a 21 Wilton tip. And we're going to put that right on. The one thing I will tell you is the frosting can get softer as you're working with it. So if you find that you're starting to get too soft, you may want to set it down and leave it for a while because your hand kind of warms it up. Or if you were mixing it and you find that you want it harder, you may leave it kind of just out in the air to kind of dry. So what we're going to do is we're just simply going to do a shell. We want to cover up this as much as possible on the edges and our wooden stick there. So, and I either have it on my tray, or you can also put it on a wax paper or freezer paper, which I think I'll switch over to. It'll be a little bit easier to work. You can tell I've done a few trees on this one already. And if I put these on little pieces, I can move them around, and sometimes that's nice about the tray too, though, because you can just kind of move it around where you want. So that's something to kind of think about. And if it touches, you do not want to move that and pull it away. You want to leave it there till it's completely dry. So we're going to do a push and a pull, 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 a push and a pull. And you can see how we're really dropping there. And if you don't think that you want it to drop that much, you can go to the other side, which is completely solid on the back right there. I push and a pull. And then I want to make sure that I get that edge. So if you have to scoot it over, you can. Now I've kind of alternate the second row, but you still want them touching. And you don't have to alternate. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to make sure, again, that you get that wedge edge. Now, see this one here I have in, so this time we're going to come back and cover that up for sure. And I'm going to alternate in between. And again, I'm going to get that edge real good. Same thing here. And we're just going to keep on going here all the way to the top. So now as we get closer, you're going to decrease your shells. And you'd rather make sure that you get those edges covered. And we want to make sure that we get this last one in there really covered nice and well. And then I take my tip, and I do the same thing with it that I did with the caulk gun. I cover it up with a piece of wax paper, or excuse me, plastic, and I put a rubber band around it, and then I put it into a Ziploc bag, and that keeps it fresh for the next time we get ready to use it if you don't use it right away. So there's so many fun things that we can use to decorate it. There's so many types of glitters, is what I'm going to start with. I think on this one, I'm going to do a couple of glitters here. I've got some citron green. I'm going to do a little bit lighter than I normally do. And I'm going to do some bigger flakes. This is emerald, but these are octagon size, so I want to do some of them. Let's see if it comes through the holes. I may have to do it by my fingers, and sometimes I like that better anyway because I have control of it. But tinsel is fun. It looks more like your kind of needles or something like that. So tinsels are good. They're long, skinny ones. So think about just whatever you want to do. This is a great family project. This will be something that your kids will treasure for years to come. And this one is sinking a little bit, so on the next one you may want to reverse it. So we even have some old glitter here. This I've kind of saved. I picked it up at the thrift store, but I just love it. Just fun to do. Now we're going to do something here a little bit differently. Normally we would wait for something to dry before we would varnish it, but we're going to varnish this first while it's still wet. And the reason is we want to decorate it with all of our different embellishments. Here I had some little Santa Clauses or some little jingle bells. We have those at miriamjoy.com, as well as our little, I love these guys, our little snowflake cabajons. And so you can't just stick those in after it's dry. So we're going to just do a light coat of spray varnish. And it doesn't matter what kind you use what you have. I use the inexpensive kind I can pick up at Walmart for under $4. Rust-Oleum Krylon. The only thing I want to make sure is I have a non-yellow, and you can use matte, you can use gloss. If you're doing the glitter, you may want to use gloss. And that's another reason that we want to use it, not only to hold our color, but also to keep our glitter on. If you even buy items that or holiday items that have glitter on, you should probably varnish them and it holds that glitter on. So that's something to think about. You also could come back, color some brown, and do a brown trunk. So that's up to you what you want to do. And the color of the green is going to get darker as it dries. But you could put red glitter on, just whatever you wanted. So I'm going to go varnish mine, and then we're going to start decorating it. The one nice thing about this is if you have little items that you haven't used up, and you have them from a leftover project, there are so many fun things we can do with it. We can put stars, we can put flowers, we can put the snowflakes and the little jingle bells. Like I said, I have those at miriamjoy.com. These are little stars that I found in the scrapbook section. I also have little bows, or like I said, the little flowers would be really cute on top. But to me, I just think that we need to have a star on top of our tree. And then I'm going to start putting some little beads. These are just a little strung pearls, and they're really inexpensive. And I'm just going to kind of see how I want to go from one side to the other and push them into your tree, but try not to touch it with your fingers. Try and get my hand out of the way here, but you want it sunk pretty good. And so I'm going to crisscross down here. You would probably rather have too much. You could probably trim a little bit off the edge if it was too long. Or you could just push it around that side too. I don't mind the brown from the popsicle sticks at all. I almost think I like that better than the green. So that might be just one step that you might want to take out. And you can put a little bit of sway in your little pearl beads as you go on here. So I have one more little section, and I'm just going to bring this, probably this other guy, right to the middle of the tree and cut him. He doesn't have to go all the way across. So I've got a smaller area there. I really like the garland or whatever you want to call that. And I also used, when I was using the little jingle bells and everything, I used my tweezers. So you can use those too if you need to. These are little guys that were probably stickers in the scrapbook section. Aren't these cute? And you can do a combination of different things. You don't have to do just all one. You could put, like this guy had some little mini snowmen and some jingle bells as well as my garland, and that was really cute. I really like the snowflakes. I think I'll probably do one with that. But we've got our little red heart here. That would be cute with our little gingerbread man. So just decorate it, make it your own, do whatever you want to with it. Just don't feel that you have to follow anybody's opinion. Just have fun with it. If any of these should come off, then you're simply just going to glue them back on with a little bit of E6000. But these should last for years and years to come. These are pretty heavy once you get them done, so that's something you might want to think about when you go to hang them somewhere. But the other thing is, when you get ready and you're all done with your frosting, just pull your bag out, and you can see I've got enough for a couple more trees. It's going to depend on your size of your trees that you want to do, on how much you want to make. But you just open this up, pull that out, throw it away, and just clean off the rest with warm water and soap. Open your tip up and push as much as that you can with your finger. I use my little pinky into the trash can. Again, you do not want to put that into your sink. And then they have the little brushes that go into the little tips, and you can clean them out and just clean that with warm water and soap. If you can't find any like that, we also have some little wax brushes like this that we do sell at miriamjoy.com if you need to get a hold of some of those. But that is basically how to do our little Christmas tree, and just do your own twist on it for any of those items. Make sure you come on over to miriamjoy.com.
Well, that was a fun project. I hope you really enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube so that we continue to bring you more. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas.